Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Meet NBPD. I'm Joe Cordeiro and I'm your police chief for the city of New Bedford. We have a great show for you today, but before we start talking about what we're going to be doing today, let me just remind everybody that we are in the middle of a pandemic, COVID-19, and I want to remind everybody to wear their mask. It's super important. The city's doing really well in terms of keeping our numbers down, but that's because everybody's wearing their masks, keeping good social distance, and of course, sanitizing and washing our hands as often as we can. So appreciate your efforts out there, and if you keep doing that, that keeps our community safe and healthy. So thank you for that. So we have a great show planned for you today. There's a lot going on in the country and certainly right here in New Bedford and up at the State House in Boston. A whole lot of reform about how we're doing our policing. Reform about qualified immunity, school resource officers, and chokeholds, and a lot of things, civil service. And talk about a few of those things before we get going. And qualified immunity is a big one. How that's going to impact police officers here in Massachusetts, how they do their job, and how proactive they're going to continue to be. Qualified immunity has been around for a long time, and it really provides exactly what it says, qualified immunity. It's not absolute immunity. It gives immunity to police officers who are acting under the color of law with good intent and believe that the law that they're acting on is still in place. And it looks at the police officer's behavior through the eyes of a reasonable police officer. So what you've seen, and we all seen horrifically on the George Floyd, would not qualify as qualified immunity. That's clearly a violation of the law, clearly poor behavior. So it's really important here for New Bedford and communities like New Bedford, because if it goes through, the people who are going to be impacted really the most, I think, is our most troubled neighborhoods, because if police officers stop being proactive because they fear of losing everything that they have, and then we're not going to see them do the work that we've seen here in New Bedford. And these people living in these more challenging neighborhoods are the ones that are going to suffer the most, the ones that we're trying to protect through the reform. Now, hey, I think we need reform, no question about it, but that's one position that I don't believe will be very helpful. There are other things that we need to do. We need to be more transparent with our community, absolutely. Accountability, absolutely, and I do that every day here in the police department. I hold our people accountable, hold myself accountable, and I am absolutely open to transparency on what we do internally here. So having said that, a big piece is the school resource officers, and I have with me today my guest and a wonderful police officer for the city of New Bedford, Officer Leanne Fisher, who is a school resource officer and has been for a little bit at the Greater New Bedford Vocational Technical High School. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Officer Leanne Fisher. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me as your guest today on Meet NBPD.
Yes, it's great having you here. Maybe you can tell our folks at home a little bit about you, because I know a whole lot about you.
All right, my name is Officer Leanne Fisher. I am a mother of 3 children. I am happily married. I have been born and raised in the city of New Bedford, where I love the best place anyone could ever be, despite of what others might say. I was born and raised in public housing. I never forget where I came from. I always treat people the way I want to be treated, and I never forget the golden rule.
Which is?
Treat people and others the way you want to be treated.
Oh, that's awesome. You can see why we're so grateful to have Officer Leanne Fisher with us on the department and doing the work that she's doing as an SRO. And the idea today is for you to see through the lens of our school resource officer what she does. So Leanne, maybe you can tell our folks at home exactly what your role is as an SRO in our school system.
Absolutely. The role of a school resource officer to me and to the community, and what the department policy says, is the role of a school resource officer is to be a mentor, a deterrent, a happy face, a smile, and just a resource to families, students, staff, and faculty at all times in order to maintain a safe environment for all.
Yes, that is, that's exactly what we want. We want someone just like you. And I want to say, while we continue this conversation, that we're not like other communities. Not saying anything negative about it, but the way we do our SRO program, right? You clarify as far as, Leanne, your role isn't as a disciplinarian to enforce the school rules. That's a teacher's role, right?
Absolutely.
How does that work every day with you over there?
Every day it works this way. If there is something that happens disciplinary, officers are there for mainly drugs and weapons to make sure that order is intact, but for discipline such as swearing, fighting in the school, not physically but verbal against each other. At Greater Bedford Voc Tech, we have what's called the security team, so they handle everything. We are not there to maintain. We're there to maintain order, but not to be disciplinarians in the school. We don't sanction suspensions or anything like that. If there are any drugs and weapons that would hinder the way that the school is being ran or disturbing the peace or something, we could get involved. But our last resort is to ever have charges or arrest on any student at any of the schools that we service.
That's wonderful, Leanne. So what I'm hearing from you, just to reinforce what you're saying, so if a teacher has a problem with a child in the class coming in late or being mouthy, they're not calling you, right? They're managing that themselves, managing administratively. If it starts to get a little bit rambunctious, they may call you and their security team to really manage it. But the day-to-day administrative things, they manage.
Absolutely.
Right? Excellent. And your real role isn't to arrest kids there, right? It's to help them. Maybe you can share with our viewers how that works and some of the lives that you have impacted by building a relationship. It's community policing.
Absolutely.
In the SRO role.
So let's go through a day in my role as a school resource officer. In the morning, we start at 7 a.m., and I am one of the first faces that the students see in the parking lot. I have a bright smile daily. Rain or shine, I'm out there in the parking lot. So the students pull in. Of course, I'm there maintaining safety, order, making sure that we enforce the texting and driving law, that no one's doing that. When they pull in, it's a great good morning. You never know what anyone's going through, so you always want to greet them and say good morning. We don't judge anybody. Everyone has their own stories. Everyone's lives are very different. So good morning to them. They come in, they see my face along with the security team, and the assistant principal is outside greeting them in the morning. So they know that no matter what they're going through at home, they know that they're going to come enter a positive environment at school. The students enter the school. As they do their walk around the school, I'm right there with them, right there guiding them, watching them. An ear, a resource, making sure I'm saying hello, asking about their day, asking what I can do to service them today. From there, they go out their day-to-day routine at class. You would be so surprised how many students just want to say hi to me and talk to me. They know I've been there for about 11 years, and they know that I have no ill intent whatsoever to hurt them in any way, shape, or form. So many students will come speak to me about things that are going on in their lives just as conversation. Many times I do have to tell them that I am a mandated reporter, and if there are any needs that they need met, I absolutely help with other agencies, helping them with maybe some domestic violence advocates that we have in the station, all resources to help them in anything that they need. That's really,
sounds like a wonderful job to be talking to kids and helping. And what's interesting is that they're seeking you out.
Absolutely.
They're seeking you out for conversation. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can tell our viewers at home an experience you had with a particular student, of course, without identifying them, that they sought you out and where you develop a relationship, and how that turned out for the student and how that makes you feel. Because after all, people forget that we're human beings.
That's right.
And boy, do we feel good when we do a good job and we help people, right?
Absolutely. Just like I want school resource officers to help my students, my personal children at their schools. There's a young lady who was struggling bad at home, not getting along with her mom, not getting along with her siblings. She was one of three, and she sought me out every single day. Officer Fisher, I just need you to say good morning to me every day, because that's what makes me know that it's going to be okay. In many instances, there was one incident many years ago where a young lady was a runaway. She ran away for at least 10 days. And the only person that she was seeking, and she told the juvenile detectives that she would speak to help, was me. Why? Because I make meaningful relationships. I let the students know that I am there as a resource, never to hurt them. I attend mostly every single sports event, any show that they have for drama, so they know that I am a supporter and will have their backs through it all.
So what they're seeing, and it's exactly what we want,
Exactly.
and it's so nice to hear this coming from you, is what they're seeing from a police officer in this school is someone who cares about them, an adult that absolutely is interested in their well-being,
Yep.
their daily well-being,
Yep.
and even some future endeavors. That's just wonderful. I can't imagine how that makes you feel when you get to help someone. And I'm sure, and maybe you can again share with our audience, about a student that's now an adult that's come to you because you built a relationship, and it doesn't end when they graduate.
No.
Right? Maybe you can share that with our audience.
It's so rewarding when I see students come in as a freshman, 9th grade, afraid, scared, and I'm giving them trainings on the laws and stuff like that. And then I see them 4 years later graduate. And then 2 years after that, they become police officers. That has happened many times. There's about 4 officers that are currently officers in the city of New Bedford that I was the school resource officer for while they attended the school. And that makes me feel so good because they come to me and say, Officer Fisher, thank you for what you did. Because of you, I saw the best in police officers, and I'm so happy that I am part of the team.
Wow. So that's awesome. You're also a recruiter there.
Absolutely.
Which we appreciate. Not only a recruiter and a mentor, but an example for these newly officers what it means to be a good police officer with community policing philosophy and ideologies, and how to interact with people and really care about people.
Let's not forget how many good police officers we have. If that was not true, I would not be here.
That is absolutely
I thank
true.
the New Bedford Police Department. They
Yes.
saved my life.
They saved your life.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can talk about that when we come back from the break, real shortly after our break. But before we go to break, you bring a very good point, Leanne, and I usually say at the beginning of the show, I'm so grateful for all the men and women that we have here in New Bedford Police Department. And I want to remind our residents, we're not like other communities. We're not other police departments. We have a great police department here. And your support is so much appreciated. I know I do, and so don't the men and women of our department. So when you see us out there, and if you want to stop by, if they're on a road job or by the police station, and just thank them for the job that they do, it really warms our heart, because we are human beings. And with everything that's going on in this crazy world and the media so negative on us, we forget that we're human beings and we have a great department here. So it means the world to us, and it means the world to me when you do that. So thank you, Leanne. Don't go away. And don't you go away either at home. We'll be right back after this break. Don't change the channel. Go get a snack, and we'll continue with this great conversation with Officer Leanne Fisher and the work that our school resource officers are doing in our amazing school department. So be right back. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Taya Leone, and you're watching New Bedford Cable Network. Good for you.
The problem is the public makes healthcare decisions based on how they feel. I have a tendency to call it the I feel good syndrome. If I feel good, how could there be anything wrong with me? I feel great. I just did full court basketball or 18 holes of golf. Most people can lose up to 80, 90% of their kidney function and feel great. You can't make healthcare decisions solely based on how you feel.
Welcome back to Meet NBPD, and I'm here with Officer Leanne Fisher, our school resource officer at the Greater New Bedford Vocational Technical High School. Leanne, you're doing a great job here, really expressing what's going on for our audience. Could you tell our folks at home what it's like and what you do, what that process is of building up a relationship with these young kids, and not only the kids, we can even talk about the staff as well at some point.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we must maintain some kind of trust. So I did a junior police academy with some students. That I had about 20 students in my junior police academy. We went over marching, we went over law, and at the same time we broke bread together. We ate, we had pizza parties to let them know that me as a police officer, I'm a human being. I'm normal just like they are, right? Just because I put on this badge and my duty belt, I'm still a human. I still want to make sure that they know that I'm there as a supporter along with the staff. The staff at Greater New Bedford Voc has really taken me in as a family member. They include me in everything that they do. I attend all of the staff trainings, all of the half-day trainings that the staff have. They include me in everything that they do. So I believe that we're truly a family there. But that comes with trust. They need to know that you have their back. They need to know that you won't do anything to hurt them. But at the same time, you will have to do your job when the time comes.
That's how it's supposed to be. We want our SROs in the school to be part of the team, not an outsider, not an enforcer, not just in there with our handcuffs like a Gestapo type of mentality. We want a friendly face, a human being there that's there to help both teachers and students. So when you're having these conversations with these students, what are they like? Like, what's some of the questions? Our audience would love to hear that, I think.
Some of the questions that the students have is, why did you become a police officer? Right? Well, why did you want to do this? This world is crazy right now. Like a lot of students want to become police officers because they truly think that we come in as Gestapo, we come in, we kick doors down, but that's not the case at all. So I like to educate them on what a school resource officer really does. I am there to make sure that I'm a resource officer for students who may be suffering, even the students who have no issues whatsoever, that they know that being a police officer is to protect and serve, that you have to treat people the way you want to be treated. If someone is in need, you must, as a school resource officer, find all avenues to help them out, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be going home and not feeling comfortable walking through their neighborhoods. You have to find all the resources that are available in our city, and there's so much. There's the food banks. There's Department of Child and Family Services, who does not always hurt families. They are there to help families. We have to make sure that we tap into all of those resources so our students feel safe, because that's the only way that they're going to learn.
So again, another role of the SRO is to be kind of a conduit,
Absolutely.
A resource for other agencies in city government, state government, or nonprofit, and connect these young kids or even their families, because it could be something with their housing that's not right, and getting inspectional services to go there to hold the landlord's hand,
That's right.
force them to keep a nice living space for these folks.
Absolutely.
Leanne, how about the students that are a little bit leery about you, leery about the police officer, and not so trusting? How do you win them? I mean, obviously you got a great personality, but how do you do it?
So I'm not shy whatsoever. I treat every single student, I'm a mother of 3, like I'm their parent. I want them to know that they can fully trust me, that I will not hurt them. I talk to every single person, look them in the eyes, and let them know, I'm Officer Fisher, how are you today? First of all, that's the first step, to make sure that they can look me eye to eye, that I'm not there with my handcuffs out, ready to hurt them in any way, shape, or form. I was going to start a coffee with a cop type thing at Voc every day, like once a month. The students can come ask me questions, have maybe not coffee but soda, juice, milk, water, have some snacks for them, so they can come after school and just talk to me, just vibe with me, and ask about me, ask about my family, ask about what made me become a police officer, maybe get them on the right path if they're not on the right path, or if they're leery about what's going on in their city, to know how we help, what it takes to become a police officer. There are so many students at Voc who have become police cadets, because I make sure that I make announcements. I ask to make announcements at least once a month to let them know that the police cadet applications are available, that they hear my voice, and they get to know exactly who I am and why I'm there.
That's wonderful. So, Leanne, when it comes across in talking to you and other SRO officers, is you care.
Absolutely.
So when you're having these interactions with these kids and you're trying to win trust, and is you truly care about them, and I'm sure that comes out not only the energy that you portray, but the conversations that you have, and that really helps these young kids. Now, you've helped some students become police officers, but I'm sure you've helped some students pursue other dreams, either professionally, educationally, that otherwise they maybe thought they couldn't do it, right?
Absolutely.
Can you give us an example of a student that you were able to have that wonderful experience with?
Sure, being an advocate in the community. There's many students at vocational school. There's so many different shops. There's plumbing, there's baking. There was one young lady who made beautiful, beautiful cakes, and she wanted to be a cake decorator, but her parents didn't think it was a great job, right? So we contacted Stop and Shop. We got her a job at Stop and Shop, and she is currently working at one of the Stop and Shops in our city, cake decorating, and she feels like she's on top of the world. One of my personal daughters wanted to pursue modeling, and there was another student at Voc who also wanted to do the same thing. So we linked them up together. We called some agencies. They're not professional models, but they're able to be in that environment where they feel really good about themselves and know that beyond the sky is the limit, and that's our job. It's the most rewarding job in this department.
So it's not always, when we forget about this at homes when we're raising our kids, it's not about what your children are going to be doing. It's that they're doing what they love.
What makes them happy.
And what's important hearing from you, Leanne, is you're helping these kids reach for their dreams.
Absolutely.
Whether they attain it or not, but to believe that it's attainable and it's reachable and it's real.
That's right.
Is wonderful. That's going to be wonderful for you and the feeling that you must get. How about the staff? How do you help the staff out there? Because I'm sure even they sometimes have problems where they could use the help of a good police officer, right?
Absolutely. I have an open door policy. I have my own office at the school. The staff knows that they can come speak to me anytime of the day whatsoever. And what we talk about is confidential. So they know we've had a lot of many domestic issues that staff and faculty might have had at home. They just need a listening ear. Officer Fisher, give me some information. What should I do in this situation? Should I go to the police? Should I go, and I've set many up with domestic advocates, domestic violence advocates, and no one needs to know, not their children or anybody. They can call their personal cell phones. Even with the stress of just being a teacher itself, right? They can come into my office. We just have communication. Sometimes we'll have lunch together, and they'll say, thank you so much for just talking to me and being a listening ear. Someone who's not part of the school and can't judge or get them in trouble in any way, because they're human too. And we have the best staff at Greater New Bedford Voc Tech. My daughter's a graduate from Greater New Bedford Voc Tech, and I appreciate everything that staff and faculty has done for my family as well.
Yeah, they do a great job at Greater New Bedford Voc Tech, as they do in our New Bedford public school system. But what I'm hearing from you, and it's important for our audience at home to hear, is that you're building relationships with students and the staff members.
Absolutely.
Because kids have problems in school, out of school. Teachers have problems in school and out of school. And you are a resource to everybody. And you're wearing a lot of hats.
Absolutely.
And you got to use a lot of skill sets.
That's true.
Right? And we send you for training. You've
Absolutely.
gone to school to be a school resource officer, and there's always training that's ongoing. But it sounds like a lot of communications. Well, you tell us, what's some of the skill sets that you got to use every day in different hats?
Absolutely.
Social worker, maybe you could talk about that.
Absolutely. We do wear many hats. As a school resource officer, social worker, you have to have communication skills. You have to be able to be non-judgmental. You have to be a listening ear and listen to people. You have to communicate, not just tell them what they want to hear, but you always want to say the truth. You don't want to sugarcoat anything, because then you're going to lose their trust. So you have to wear a lot of hats. Sometimes we're social workers. Sometimes they think we're doctors. Some kids say, Officer Fisher, I think I broke my finger. Can you bring me to the nurse? And, it's funny sometimes. Sometimes I'm rolling someone who's in a wheelchair. If there's no staff, or maybe someone's on their lunch break, I'll help in that aspect. So we do absolutely wear a lot of hats. And the whole point of being a school resource officer is to, of course, deter and deflect any crime. That we want it to be a safe environment. But at the same time, school resource officers want to help your child. They want to help you and your family at all times. That's
wonderful, Leanne. I'd be interested hearing, I know you're professionally, and as a mom, you have 3 children. Maybe you could tell our audience how you feel if there was no school resource officer where your child goes, and they go to New Bedford Public School
Absolutely.
System.
Yep.
Right? So you've had both experiences. You're an SRO. You know what, and maybe you could talk about that as well. 3 questions all in one. What would it be like, Voc, without an SRO there? How would that impact the school? How you feel as a mother for your children that go through our New Bedford Public School System, the value of having an SRO there versus the value of not. for you both as a mom and in your experience at Voc?
When I drive by my children's schools and I see the police cruiser parked outside of that school, you'd be surprised how much I believe that deters any kind of crime going on, either whether it be someone entering or someone inside of the school thinking that they want to do a criminal act whatsoever. Without school resource officers in our buildings, me personally, without the school resource officer, whoever it may be, at any of the schools, we'd be in a herd of trouble. Our students trust us. Our students know that they can come to us, even if they are thinking of doing a criminal act. I believe that we, as school resource officers, all of us have been there for over 4 years, and the students know that they can have our trust. We need school resource officers in our buildings. Our students need us. Our staff needs us. How can a child learn if they don't feel safe in that environment? And I can attest that we make every student feel safe in our buildings. We must keep the school resource officers in the buildings in order for the kids to have a positive environment, and also the students, the faculty as well. We practice the Alice lockdown training in our city, and without us school resource officers, we would be in big trouble.
Right, we're winding down here. We've covered a lot of material here today with Officer Leanne Fisher, which I appreciate you coming on again, Leanne, and the work that you're doing there in our schools, especially at Voc, but even outside of that, you're a true leader, and you have been, you've had the opportunity to speak publicly quite often. So for our audience at home, as we're getting ready to wrap up, I wish we could talk even longer. Maybe you can come back, Leanne. Is if you believe in the school resource officer program in New Bedford, I think you should reach out to, to the schools, because at the end of the day, we're there as guests. We don't force ourselves into the school. We're there as invitees. It's the public school buildings. And we like being there because I think we are making a difference. And a big piece we didn't get a chance to talk about keeping students safe is bullying.
Absolutely.
Bullying is such a huge issue in this country, and the impact that it has on our young students, but even later on in life as adults. And we didn't even get to touch on that today, how you're able to help students that are being bullied without putting cuffs on the person that's bullying, because it's an education piece for everybody. So, having said that, we got to wind down, and maybe that's a show for another time. Officer Leanne Fisher, thank you so much for being here, the work that you do, and for the other SROs, thumbs up for you guys. Love what you're doing out there. For our wonderful community in New Bedford, I am so grateful for the continuous support that you've given me and the men and women of our police department. If you believe in the SRO program, make your voice known. And if you like what we're doing out there, let the cops know, because we surely appreciate it. At the end of the day, we're human beings, and we could surely use it. So thank you. Until next time, we'll see you on Meet NBPD.